Hello everybody and welcome to another Stellaris video. I'm playing one of my good old all-time favorite builds here. Um, this is an old classic for me in terms of, strength and consistency. However, in recent times, it has been really overshadowed by a lot of the more recent synthetic builds that are much more powerful. And this is good old catalytic psionic Teachers of the Shroud. So, this build has a very specific early game build path. I'll show you guys the build in a second here as I do my early game adjustments, as this is a multiplayer game, so we got to go fast before, we fall too far behind. We'll disable our starting, temples, and then we'll go ahead and set our rights to Utopian. This will give us some extra unity power and some extra other stuff in the early game. As you can see, our consumer good economy is really good for a little bit here. And of course, we're going to open statecraft. So let's go ahead and take a look at this build now. So this build is using egalitarian, xenophobe, spiritualist, anglers, and parliamentary system with a democratic start. Parliamentary system is, as always, for early game unity, and these three traits just seem to be most beneficial when combined with each other. The other thing we really need to do for the early game is, of course, we need to explore out into the galaxy. We got to take advantage of the fact that since our origin is Teachers of the Shroud, one of my all-time favorite origins, giving you, a psionic rush option, is we have access to rare crystals right at the early game. And what we can, of course, do is toggle this on and off in order to quickly scout the galaxy for our guarantees. Now, we have a very unlucky two planets here. This is a size 12 and this is a size 14. This is really unlucky because not only is this going to give us very, very low natural pop growth due to having two small planets, it's also the two minimum sized planets possible, which is a bit unlucky for a game that I kind of want to play into the late game just to see really how the late game feels, as I very, very rarely play a game all the way to the late game, as it can get a little bit boring later on when we're just waiting for things to spawn and the game pattern becomes a little bit more tedious. But nevertheless, I kind of want to give it a try, see what happens. So, what is the early game objective with this build? Well, first of all, it's just to buy the Psionic leader and to kind of rush a little bit of leader EXP in order to make our pops more efficient. Psionic, of course, lacks almost any way to more quickly grow pops, so what that leaves is having more efficient pops, and there's basically two things we want to find here. One is, of course, a charismatic leader, since we start with a Spark of Genius leader, which is a little bit different from this old build. Start with a scientist with Spark of Genius is now the best starting leader you can get. The other thing you want to do for the early game, of course, is actually you can go into your government tab here and turn off robotic workers, like turn into outlawed. This will give you a little bit more faction approval, and a little bit more faction approval will, of course, make your pops a little bit happier and a little bit more efficient, and giving your empire a little bit more unity. Also, we have very close neighbors here, so let's see if we can find any planets. I know this lobby has 0.5x planets, so I don't expect to find many. We might have to get our first bunch of planets through conquest, which is actually one of the strengths of this build. It's a very good build for when you're stuck on low planet count, as it's actually a build which can be quite efficient with low planet counts. So we won't worry too much if we're stuck on 3 planets. We do also get this Church of Light event, which is very annoying. What you can do is you set your fleet to evasive, and then just not evasive, my bad. You can set your science ship to passive, and it'll ignore any hostiles in the system, and they can continue on doing whatever you want. And your starting starbase should take care of the fleets that spawn, and if they don't spawn in range, you should be able to skirt around them by putting your fleets on passive and just flying around them if you ever get this event. Let's see. We start with another player in here, Menace. Let's see who they are. It's Leo Sumfermish. I have no idea who they are. I have not seen them before, but they're also on a soul start, so they at least kind of know what they're doing, which is pretty interesting. They have even less systems than me, which is pretty unlucky, but also for this event, if you never finish up the other events, you never get any more ship spawns. So that's always something you can do, as well, as that way you don't get annoyed by anything. So that's exactly what we're going to do. Just going to ignore it, expand our council, and kind of move on and playing the game almost as if they don't exist. And I also did forget to select amongst peers, then pass the agenda. So a small mistake there, but generally not a very big deal. Also, looks like our corner of the galaxy is extremely low on planets. Um, Let me go take a look at the rules to see like kind of what wars we can do. Um, no crisis until 2260. Maximum of 3 subjects per empire. No war, including AI or pre-contact, until 2240. Um, okay, so 2240, we can murder anyone we want, basically. So we have a long time to prepare. But with only 3 planets, we definitely won't be scaling very well. But this is actually one of the few strengths of a build like this, is scaling with very few pops is definitely a strength of teachers. Um, and it will really take advantage of the extreme pop efficiency and leader levels we get. What do we want here? I guess roamer. Nothing there is too important. And once that is done, we probably want to start enmity here. With this few planets, we have very few sources of good unity, as unity kind of directly scales up with the number of pops and planets you have. So instead of having many planets and multiple sources of pop growth and capital buildings and that kind of thing, which can help give us an adequate source of unity by through those means, is instead we're just going to declare rivalries on any empires we can find throughout the galaxy in order to increase our unity gain, especially throughout the mid game. It'll be really, really important. As you can see, we're not working any temple jobs or anything like that, so our research is going to be very limited. Our unity will also be limited, and yeah, the best way we can get it is for free through enmity. So it also looks like there's absolutely no planets in this corner of the galaxy, and we're also next to a fanatic xenophobe fallen empire, which will be a bit of a challenge, but we'll work it out. Um, I do want to scan all the nearby systems just to make sure everything is fine. I think I'm gonna quit. Yeah, that's a bit optimistic saying he can claim my planets and take my stuff, I guess. Mm, okay, yeah, this is definitely going to be not too fun of a game for Leo if he plays as he's definitely not going to be able to overpower me and take my planets, I guess. I will have to take his planets at some point, especially if he turns into an AI. I'll have no guilt doing it. Um, I'd say the number of builds which can outscale Psionic teachers on 3 planets is really few. Um, Maybe synth fertility, maybe not even clones, right? Because clones don't reach the same pop efficiency, especially on a size 12 and 14 is so depressingly small. Um, that we're definitely going to need some help to outscale that. And we definitely also need to find more neighbors as soon as possible so that we can declare more rivalries, as our Unity income will need to scale with rivalries. And I do want the people I declare rivalry on to be farther away in case they quit and turn into AI. Um, I won't get attacked by a bunch of angry AIs, right? Um, as beating an AI before a peace timer is pretty hard because they can kind of declare war on you at any time, which is a little bit inconvenient, as you can imagine. So yeah, we'll try not to get war decked by an AI by declaring rivalries on people who leave, and instead we're just going to chill a little bit. Yeah, one nice thing is that we have these 2 planets right next to us, uh, which is nice. But at the same time, we're going to be limited by surveying speed, as the planet, when you take Sol Origin, or Sol as your starting home system, Sol has one disadvantage, is that the planets survey very slowly because they have so many systems and bodies um, in each of your guaranteed worlds, basically. So it's a bit slow in that sense. But it's well worth it with arc furnaces coming on later, and you getting a guaranteed 20 arc furnace deposit system as your homeworld, nevertheless, as well, which is easier to defend and that kind of thing. But anyway, yeah, at this point in the game, everything is going okay. We of course need to find more contacts and start declaring rivalry on all of them as soon as we can, as soon as we finish enmity at least. Before we finish enmity, we can't declare rivalry as we're gonna have different strengths, and it won't even give us unity, just influence, uh, which is of course not as useful. But with claims and stuff, yeah, that guy's gone already. So I can't war deck this until year. Let me just confirm that we don't, we can't kill them until year 40, which also means I'll have to maintain good relations with his empire. Ooh, a shattered ring segment. Nice. If we're feeling aggressive or they leave, we can take that as well. As getting access to a ring segment that early on into the game could be pretty cool. Yeah, I do think playing with 0.5 planets is not fun for most players, as most players do not know how to scale vertical. So if I were ever making a game, I would always leave it on 1, if not 1.25x. It's a little bit of extra lag, but most of the lag causes from people having bad connections and not from more planets. You could easily have 5x planets, and if everybody had good connections, there would be no lag. Of course, it's very optimistic to say just have a good connection and don't lag, but um, it happens surprisingly often in tournament games and such where people have good computers and that kind of thing. So, anyways, also, as soon as you start to get to a certain point, you can even decrease the amount of metallurgists you have. There's, of course, no need for any metallurgists when you already made all of your colonies and stuff, right? So you can even go to 0. I'm not going to go to 0. I'm going to leave it on like 1 metallurgist for a while. And that's simply to build up a little bit of alloys for star bases and that kind of thing if we hit hydroponics farming or anything like that. Or if we just want to expand out aggressively into more space. And we can also just set this to survey more systems around us. See if we can find any good deposits for minerals, as we do have some good energy deposits, and 8 is okay, but what we really want is some good mineral deposits. We can also scout some systems to see if there's any good looking arc furnace systems nearby. And I don't see any. A good arc furnace system will almost always be like Sol. If you take a look at the Sol system, it's a double asteroid belt. Those double asteroid belt systems are the most consistent arc furnace systems, and I guess the only other good arc furnace system we'll have is the other Sol nearby, so we'll definitely be able to take that at some point. And also we can now also turn on capacity subsidies as we have access to that, and we'll be able to turn on mineral subsidies too very soon, as we are also rolling that right now, which is a pretty lucky early game mineral subsidy. This build in particular is one of the least sensitive to not having mineral subsidies, in the sense that you really don't need it, as the mineral demand is really low. As well, right now we're Angler's parliamentary system, right? But year 10 we're going to swap parliamentary system for meritocracy, and at year 30 we're going to swap meritocracy for catalytic. If you're wondering why the complications, why swap your civics so many times, it's simply to give you the most efficient thing for each time period, right? Right now, we need factions and faction resource output for unity, as your factions normally don't found until year 10. And if we take a look at our factions here, take a look at this unity, 13, 20, and 10. We're getting like 45 unity, almost, simply from one early game civic. That's like tripling your early game unity, right? If we take a look at our total unity output, it's 81. So not tripling, but it's like just over doubling our natural unity output, which is really, really amazing. And we are, what's it called? Spiritualist as well, so it gets increased by that. And then later on, what we need, as we mentioned, this is a leader build, which relies on having powerful leaders to get efficiency bonuses, right? So that is something that meritocracy helps with, and also specialist resource output. And then once we want to finally start producing ships, then we switch to catalytic, as this is a year 40 peace timer game. So there's that. Yeah, having these tiny planets, by the way, is super unlucky, but we are lucky we got 6 energy districts on this planet here, which is very, very cool. Yeah, having 6 energy districts on that one planet there will actually help us a lot. We can also work our way, I think, towards this area of the galaxy here. As there are some planets we can, terraform into oceans at some point if they're not taken by other empires. If they are, of course, we can fight over them. I think that is the one fun thing about having fewer planets is people tend to fight over planets. Where when there's a lot of planets, nobody really feels the need to fight over planets. Like if you feel like you have enough and you can scale up anyway and hit all the late game techs you want and that kind of thing. Who needs planets, right? And hit, make 400,000-500,000 alloys. Um, Off the 7 or 8 planets you do have, who really needs that many more planets? But when you have 3 and there's just not enough to dedicate to all the things you need, tech, alloys, naval cap, um, energy, minerals. I mean, minerals is not really a problem these days with oh, we hit a triple? Does that mean somebody spawned with an AI spawning origin? Of course they did. That's good for me though. It's more things to declare rivalry on. Which is funny. We do want to finish enmity as soon as possible. So more unity would be good. So make sure to unemploy, colonists and other bad jobs whenever you can. As you can see, we're maintaining a very elite group of workers. You can even unemploy miners. As little known fact is that miners are horrifically inefficient. Let's take a look at their output, shall we? They output 6.3 minerals, right? That it's just not good. It's just not good, basically. It is much more efficient to. Oh, I did this backwards, by the way. I wanted less metallurgists and more artisans. There we go. And there we go. We're getting 26 months away from completing enmity now, which is really nice. I also want to start first contact with one of these. As this would give us access to 3 empires at once, which is of course better for enmity as we need to declare rivalry against 6 empires. And we have the fallen empire here. That's 1. We have this empire, probably a ring. If they're a trade build, I'll probably be friends with them. If not, rivalry. Also, why would you play ring? That's not a trade build. I don't know, but you see wild things that people do. So who really knows what they're playing? I'm not gonna unprioritize miners. I want the extra unity, but honestly, I need the extra minerals more. And now that we have mineral subsidies as well, that will boost that up to 8.3, which is a lot less kind of shameful of amount of minerals. And that should help us, keep up with all our planets. Our pop growth is really bad. If you take a look at this, I have rapid breeders, which is a bit of a mistake. I'm supposed to have incubators, but I was probably playing a late game save. I guess that's good for late game actually still, so I'm not too upset. But incubators is a lot better for PvP games. We found Deutschland. Deutschland. Okay, so we're definitely finding some good rival candidates. That's good. As our mid game unity with this build is definitely gonna really suck. So good to have that kind of patched up in a way. As you can see, we're also building up some energy credits. Never too bad of an idea to have some spare energy credits. But you can also just convert them straight into minerals if you need, of course, as most of the time what you're buying with energy is minerals. So yeah, we'll just keep moving on through the galaxy. Really annoying that maybe this was an AI that spawned some AI. I don't know. We'll find out. I'm too lazy. You can always look through players and check the menaces and see if they match up. Pi menace, Zion menace, like. So Phi menace is indeed a player. Did I see it earlier? No, that's P menace. Yeah, there's Pi menace as well. And there's Zion menace and Hef menace. So those don't seem to be human players. So it must have been an AI that spawned an AI spawning origin. Why would you have the rule of no AI spawning origin and then have AIs in the game? That's interesting to me. Or maybe they're custom. I don't know. That's just funny to me. Doesn't really make sense if you see what I'm saying. Also, we do have Expand the Council available to us, but we're not going to take that over until we finish enmity there, as we do want to make sure we have enmity as soon as possible. It'll also give us an extra envoy, so we can start, Oh my god, you know what's one thing I forgot to do? Did I remember to go isolationist? I did. It seems that even if I don't remember to say it out loud or specifically try to do it, I'll remember anyway. Um, Very nice. Have I set up planetary automation? I don't think I have, but we can set it up now. Basically, we deselect everything except for crime. Shift click on the remaining options so that this is the default for every planet in the future. I repeat this almost every video, but I repeat it for people who might not know, as this is just a super powerful thing to do. And this will automatically manage crime on any planet you have. Why did that not work? Okay, if it doesn't work, then you control click. I think it's because I already made the colony. I should have done this earlier. So if you control click, that will then toggle these settings on every planet. So let's go ahead and do that. And now if we check, yeah, this should be the same on every planet. I hope that worked. If it didn't, oops. Ooh, food subsidies, another really good tech there. That can be taken on for mineral subsidies later, as we will need to start building up a good amount of consumer goods and that kind of thing. Very, very nice indeed. Oh, this is a great system. 11 minerals. Let's start building our way towards that. And this is why we did build up some alloys, right? So when we see a system like this with 11 minerals, we can just go get on over there and, exploit that right away. 8 more months until enmity. We just want to make sure we have a little bit of extra unity at year 10 for our election, because messing up the election is one of the few things that can go wrong in this build. So you want, if you don't know what I'm saying, basically you want to have some unity built up at year 10 exactly. Right now I have 1,200. I don't really want to spend any, if I remember to do that, until the election happens at the beginning of year 10. So hopefully you remember that. If not, it's usually not a big deal, but if you're very unlucky, you can mess up the election, and what that does is that means you can't reform out of parliamentary system. So you basically waste one civic slot for 10 years, which is definitely not a good thing. So we're definitely trying to avoid that. And as you can see, our tiny little empire here is expanding. This AI is not even taking the planets. That's funny, but we won't have to worry about that yet. One thing we're also going to do here is basically want to build 2 research labs on every planet before we start building the actual main designation of this planet. So this won't be energy, and our larger planet will always be for consumer goods and food. Unfortunately, our larger planet is a bit of a size 14, but hey, we'll make it work. And yeah, here, I think with almost a year left before the election, we can actually take this. We'll have enough unity, and we can go ahead and take Transcendent Learning. And that means whenever we pass an agenda, we'll get a nice little leader EXP boost, which will definitely serve our empire very well. And yeah, as you can see, we're also busy building research labs on every planet at all times now. So it's definitely a bit of a handful there. Yeah, we're definitely getting a good amount of research labs. Let's go ahead and build our Zithril starbase. And yeah, just continue to push out into the galaxy. If you also always remember to come toggle crystal sensors and, move your ships one step farther out into the galaxy. It's always a good idea. So, I mean, the more you see of the galaxy, the better. It's usually always true. So, yeah, also running a little bit low on consumer goods. So 3 artisans it is. Oh, a criminal syndicate. That's annoying. We will declare rivalry on this guy as soon as possible. Let's do one thing and let's see if they'll offer. No, I don't want to communicate with. I actually don't want them to get any more intel level on my planets. So let's decline that. I would usually always say yes to an embassy, but I just don't like criminal syndicate players because they usually they can't scale, right? Because the build sucks. So they just leave, right? So they come, drop some branches on your planets, and leave the game. Like, at least play the game if you're gonna play something annoying that nobody else in the galaxy really wants to see, right? At least play the game so you can put up a fight and make it interesting. But nope, as soon as things go wrong, time to leave. Pretty interesting. Like, it's just a bad build in general. It's very hard. playing Criminal Syndicate is a bit like playing Stellaris on just hard mode, as the entire galaxy hates and wants to kill you, and your build sucks and doesn't scale. Um, so it's a bit of a double whammy there. And also, we got pacificity on our starting. Oh, that's so unlucky. Can I replace them? Let me try something. Leaders, dismiss leader. And then, can I buy another one from the Shroud, or did I just screw myself? Let's see. Like 830 energy credits. See, this is why it's useful to have extra energy credits. When your leader rolls the worst trait in the game, you can replace them and then immediately start leveling them up again. That's so funny. Anyways, that's a Minister of State. Let's put a new one in, and also, yep, here's our first election as well. So basically, we want anyone but our starting leader to win. Preferably, we want not our Minister of State to win, but alas, there's nothing we can do about that. Also, if we take a look at this, the favor will increase on our starting leader. So always make sure when you're leveling up traits, it won't overtake it and put it into the #1 slot. And you can always spend some unity to increase support, so make sure that doesn't happen. Luckily, we don't really need to do that here, and instead we can focus on psionic theory and start working towards that. Basically, we want to keep re-rolling society techs until we have the option to research colonial centralization. Colonial centralization will then unlock the ability to build Psycore on every planet, and that's when we want to research psionic theory and change over to psionics. Also, we'll be reforming our government very soon. So we'll also keep an eye on that. And also, now that it's year 10, we can also go ahead and set our rights of our species to social welfare. As you can see, we don't have too many unemployed pops left. If we have a few, we can just employ them as like clerks or whatever. And we do get a new leader as well now. So let's go ahead and hire a new Minister of State. Actually, we don't need to. Let's go ahead and directly go reform our government. Oligarchic. Take this off, and as I mentioned before, meritocracy. This is one of the most important things you can learn to do on any bio build, is starting with parliamentary and then reforming out. Almost every good bio build uses this pattern. As well, bio builds just don't have very many things that make them viable, and being able to rapidly reform is one of the few things that makes them strong. So make sure you get used to that. Also, if we have a good scientist, we should use a scientist as our principal instructor, but we don't. And commanders are actually very good as well, as they're very, very useful late game. We get this now when we're producing almost no unity. Is really unlucky. But what we can do now is we can swap over from isolationist to antagonist. And before we piss everyone off, let's see if we can offer trade deal, information, communications. I don't think we can, but in case we do, it's going to be super useful. Rant. So this was a human player. Okay, I missaw, I guess. And now we can just go ahead and declare rivalry on everyone, I guess. We've got what we needed. We got our our trade for communications, and we'll just declare rivalry on absolutely everything. And also watch as our unity goes up. Declare rivalry. You can even declare rivalry on the Fallen Empire. They won't actually do anything. So that's just a little fun fact, I guess. You can just say we will not be bullied, and nothing bad will really ever happen. At least yet. Never bad has happened yet. So I forgot to reassign, this guy as our governor. So let's go ahead and do that now. And just continue to build tech on our homeworld. Kind of one of the few things left to do. And just keep cycling through these techs as fast as possible, as we're really just trying to rush. We're trying to rush colonial centralization as fast as possible at this point. Yeah, this build is also quite involved. As you can see, there's a lot of buttons to click, a lot of things you can do to minimax. So I won't be making very many cuts until the game kind of slows down a bit and there's less for us to do. But as you can see right now, we're constantly trying to explore farther out into the galaxy. Constantly, we're trying to manage our planets and our designations and stuff. Like, definitely a lot to do as this build is very, very dynamic. Also, we do want to decrease artisan priority here soon, as we're going to want to move these artisans to a colony. Probably this one with agriculture districts as soon as we can. And we don't want to burn through too many minerals, as you know, minerals are pretty hard to come by with this build, as these are going to be basically our only 4 mineral jobs for a really long time. And instead, let's go ahead and just continue to explore out into the galaxy. Yeah, we can also keep expanding our home base and that kind of thing. Chief presenter. Let's go ahead and take politician, make our agenda speed a little bit faster. And one thing we can start to do now, with all this extra unity from enmity, is we can actually just start skipping agendas every time they get kind of close to the end. And this will massively boost our leader EXP. So we got to keep an eye on that. It's a little bit of micromanagement. What did I just click? Population end growth discouragement. Encourage growth. Encourage growth. We need to remember to distribute luxury amenities too on our 2 colonies to keep them happy for now, as they will have a bit of happiness issues if we don't do that. Also, let's build another generator district. I know I really want to get the generator building down soon, but don't really have that yet, so we're going to have to wait on that. Here, since disruptors aren't banned, basically no engineering tech matters for anything, ship-wise, basically, except for cruisers. And the only tech that matters for ship power is basically the tier of your disruptors, and the HP of your ships. So, you know, things like armor and shields don't even matter against disruptors. You can have level 1 armor, level 1 shields, with tier, like, 2 disruptors, and you would beat almost any other fleet in the game, as disruptors are just so incredibly OP. Especially the alloy efficiency is really good when it comes to ships like that with poor armor and poor shields. You also don't need very much tech. You only need the disruptors, which is definitely a really nice touch. And who do we just make contact with? Okay, these are the 1 guys we don't want to harm our relations with, as they're right next to us and they could theoretically declare war, but looking at them, they're probably not powerful enough, as the AI doesn't seem to have the ability to colonize planets when they're a player controlled empire, which is pretty funny. So we still won't do rivalry on them yet, as we can probably make contact with another empire somewhere and declare rivalry on them instead. And that should be a bit easy. Radiant Storm. If this spawns near my homeworld, I'll be sad. Radiant Storms are the worst. Anyways, I forgot to skip any part of this agenda, but make sure you turn on an education campaign every time you want to pass an agenda. It's a small 10%, but it really adds up in the long run. So, if you remember to do so, you'll definitely be giving yourself a nice lead eventually. Here, I guess we can take Evolving Society, just boost that unity a little bit more, and help us, get ready for Psionics. As soon as we are lucky enough to roll that in our technology, we'll be rolling along. So, also, we just want to try to keep all the planets upgrading at all times. This is actually quite difficult, but we should be able to manage. Also, as you can see, as we start to produce more energy, you can go ahead and buy more minerals, as well. That is not a problem indeed. Also, another thing we can do is we can enable resettlement now. This will make our factions a little bit less happy, but it's pretty important, as it's a lot better to specialize your worlds than it is to have a bunch of general purpose worlds that are relatively inefficient at what they do. Right, so let's go ahead and move our technicians from our homeworld over here, and just an extra minor. I know this is really dumb. It looks like we're employing clerks, but basically what we can do is we can then use this to build a planetary administration instead of a city district. I know we wasted a bit of time there, but this will give us a building slot and an extra couple very efficient unity jobs. Let's go ahead and do destroyers there, as we have nothing else good. Also, we could luckily roll early cruisers. Not that we're going to use them, as this is a year 40 piece, so as long as we roll them at some point, we'll be fine, basically. Void worms are definitely annoying. but you do find them basically every game these days, so do keep that in mind. Oh, this is an alien system? Aw. Well, we're playing with 3 planets and that's it, right? So, while that's kind of expected, that is definitely really annoying. And here, what we're actually going to do is we're going to do absolutely nothing until we research psionics, which definitely might take a while. So, on the other hand, our empire size is going to stay very low as well. We have basically no planets, right? So, there's also that going for us, and we can also bring up the mineral buy to like 40 at this point, just max it out, as we're definitely making some pretty good energy credits, so not bad. And we do roll colonial centralization at year 13. I would consider this generally quite lucky, but we did manage our society tech pretty well. What you may have noticed in my research tech is we ignored any techs that unlock multiple new technologies. And you'll know that one technology unlocks multiple new technologies when it has this little blue icon on it. And, well, I gave an example with the engineering tech, but it applies to all the tech trees, right? If you don't have a little blue lock icon, you're kind of doing your best to minimize the tech tree and how wide it's getting. There's a few more nuances than that, but from a very beginner level, if you're trying to rush a certain tech, like colonial centralization, or arc furnaces or something like that, just name a tech that you're trying to rush. The best way to do it is probably just to keep the tech tree closed as possible, and that will give you the maximum chance to roll what you really, really need. Also, this will be an agri-world, so let's go ahead and designate that now as we're at 5 pops. And we can move the anglers and stuff off our home planet onto this planet as soon as we can. And, of course, the artisans, as they're not quite as efficient as our pearl divers right now. So, yeah, we can go ahead and start moving these pops over. We're getting pearl diver jobs now. We're going to get some angler jobs at some point, and we can also build the food plant on this planet as soon as we can. And the energy plant on this planet, we need 134 minerals, so we'll have to wait a little bit for that. But it's definitely not too far off at all. Oh, we hit a pre-FTL. We can't even take it because it's not in our borders. Also, how long is it going to take for me to make another first contact? I guess I'm not researching any of these. Where's the first contact for this Deutschland guy? Maybe it was this. Maybe it was Pumenis. Oh, I think it was. Yeah. Oops. Anyhow, it's not a big deal. We're only missing one rivalry right now. We can always just declare these guys our rivals. But they're going to become pathetic to me very soon in most things, so they won't even be a good long-term rival. So let's not even do that. Should we research blue laser or quantum energy state? It's probably quantum energy state, as we're still not going to be able to declare war for another 25 years, which is a really long time, of course, so don't need to worry about that yet. Strategic resource discovered. Nice. Energy grid here, and we should get a food grid ready for this planet, as I will want to move the rest of these consumer good jobs over. We won't delete our industrial districts, as our main planet will be our industrial planet. You should always do that, by the way. You should very, very rarely plan for any planet other than your home planet to be your industrial planet. The one exception is, like, if you're playing a build that needs minerals, then the only planet with mineral districts is your home planet. You might have to do something funny there. And make another planet your industrial planet, your home planet, mineral planet, or something like that, or energy, or anything you spawn with no districts of. But in general, if you have any choice, make your home planet your industrial planet. It's the most efficient one, thanks to having the capital bonus. Yeah, like this 10 plus 10% research on jobs, plus 10 amenities, plus ability. It's just a more efficient planet than the other ones you have. So make sure you do that if you have the option to. Yep. Anyhow, am I out of crystals or am I lagging? No, I have crystals. Oh, I was just kind of lagging. It took a few days for me to get sight of some of these planets here. And we ran to a dead end here. That's annoying. That means our last chance for finding a way to the south is like through these systems here. Good to know. Also, more research labs, as there's never quite enough research when playing Stellaris, right? So, although with this build, we basically just need to find cruisers, disruptors, colonial centralization, and as many rolls of alloy smelters as we can, and that's basically how you maximize this build. We do want ion thrusters. We want our ships to be faster. We don't need to think about an Ecumenopolis yet, as well. Um, we're not even close to that point, so we don't need the Ecumenopolis tech, which is weather control systems. Don't need that yet. Also, gases are highly overrated in the early game, as you don't need gases to build alloy foundries. You don't need gases to build, anything you need in the early game, as you don't have enough jobs to fill up an entire planet of labs anyway. So you can just keep building city district, lab, city district, lab, city district, lab, instead of having the labs that are twice as many jobs per lab. Just not that important. Anyhow, let's move all the anglers to this planet, and an additional miner, and that should bring us up to 10 pops exactly, and that should allow us to also build this planetary administration as soon as possible, which, as I mentioned before, is just a free little bonus to your efficiency. We should have waited till we had enough minerals to do it, but hey, sometimes we make small mistakes like that. I feel like I should be researching this. So let's just research that. I really want to make another first contact as soon as possible, but alas, if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. Evolving Society, 3,000 Unity to skip. We're going to skip it when it gets to like 500 or 600, I think. As our empire size is getting up there, I don't want it to go over 100 quite yet. Although researching psionic theory will also bring it back down just a little bit for a second, so do keep that in mind as well. Also, we don't seem to need very many more technicians now, as looking at this, we have very good energy credits, so we can go ahead and move these technicians on our home world off technicians and onto something else, and probably just whatever we need to balance our economy. So one thing I should have done, should have moved this artisan off, as they're burning minerals and we don't have a great source of minerals. That's okay. Let's get these guys to just work as miners for now. We do need a few extra minerals. As you can see, our minerals are really bad at plus 60 without prosperity. It's a little bit rough, but nothing to worry about there. Yeah, and as you can see with enmity too, our unity is also just not really a problem, despite not having very many unity producing buildings at all besides planetary capitals. That's basically it, right? Yeah, our unity is still almost plus 100, and keep in mind we are a leader rush build as well, right? So our leaders are getting very high level and very expensive to maintain, and it's still working out okay. So it's the power of enmity, really. I haven't shown enmity in a really long time in a build, as normally I like to play like as a relatively friendly player and that kind of thing. But in a game where you need to play tall like this, it's pretty important. And even though we're playing tall on a size 14 and size 12 planet, I guess you guys get to also see what you can do out of a terrible spawn with a relatively, with a build that's relatively good at dealing with having a terrible spawn. So there's colonial centralization, and then we want to basically immediately research psionic theory. And 1200 unity to skip this agenda is probably fine, as we do have a lot more unity than we really need. So just make sure to turn an education campaign, pass that, and go ahead and do another mind over matter. We want this to finish just before the tech actually does finish, and I think it will. Also, for researchers, always select statistician for your counselor, as this will give plus research speed, and we eventually want to stack our research speed up a lot. We're only at plus 30% right now, but we can easily get that to like plus 100% later on, especially if we find the curators. If we don't find the curators, it can be a little bit difficult to get to plus 100% research speed, but as you can imagine, having plus 100% research speed is really broken, as it basically effectively doubles your actual true tech output, and that is definitely really, really nice. So get some city districts. Also, I think we should start preparing our capital for what we need to turn into an alloy world, but for now, more city districts is. It really sucks to have planets this small, as our logistic prop growth is so bad. Take a look at this. We're getting high pops on our planet because it's a size 12 with like not enough districts built, so like there's too many pops for the size of the planet. Take a look at this. 3.6 pop growth, base 3.0. It's just so terrible thanks to having small planet size and small planet capacity, is your pop growth speed actually scales with the size of the planet, which is another reason why having small planets is terrible. Um, and oh, here we go. Get declare rivalry on another fallen empire, which is quite funny. Yeah, the fallen empires are not a fan of us this game, so um, cute cat girls will not be bullied. We will stand strong and be you know terrible with no pop growth at all. Like how? Why do people like to play with no planets? It's so hard. Um, Definitely an interesting one too. Playing with as terrible pop growth as we have, um, and only 3 planets. I guess we can just go ahead and take this AI. I guess the AI is not allowed to expand or something, as this was previously played by a player. It's not allowed to make choices or something. I don't know why they haven't taken those planets yet. I would have assumed they'd be long gone. Um, Anyhow, we do get access to moats now, which means we can start building moats on this planet, although it also looks like it needs another generator district. Um, so yeah, that's going to be pretty interesting too. Anyhow, how is our mind over matter going? 23 months here. How many months here? 16. So that's definitely going to finish in time, which is nice. But anyhow, as the game is starting to slow down now, I'm going to start cutting until eventful things happen. So I'll be right back. Alright, one thing we can do is now that colonial centralization is done, we can also start our planetary capital upgrade. This will give us an extra building slot and the ability to build a psi core as soon as we unlock that building. And as you can see, our economy is definitely taking a bit of a plunge, but don't worry, we should be able to survive this just. Another thing we do need to do here is let's check on our pop growth, and yeah, the extra city district seems to have got rid of the high pops modifier, which is just crazy to have a high pops modifier with 11 pops. Yeah, anyhow, we'll be right back. Alright, our engineering tech is done. Let's see what our next role is. I think we just take afterburners here. Normally I'd take mining station output. Actually, I'll still take mining station output. We don't need to militarize this early. Yeah, I think for now we can just focus on tech and that kind of thing. Let's also make sure to turn an education campaign for all our leader level ups. And let's see what our first trait here is. Manufacturer is great. Factory focused is of course good too, but I'd rather have forge focus. A manufacturer giving amenities on every planet in the sector is absolutely huge for early game management and that kind of thing. And it's still even good late game. So I think we go with departmental efficiency here. Yeah, just speed up that a little bit as well. Should be really nice. And here we can take something like ground defense planning. And also, since we have psionics now, we can go ahead and take psionics, go ahead and take Psycore, and just, unlock this tree as much as we can. And as soon as our planetary capital here is done, we can go ahead and build the beautiful Psycore building on our capital. And we get another statistician too, which is nice. Also, if you take a look at, this world now, we're making 11.9 consumer goods per pop, which is not bad at all. And this is actually boosted by the consumer goods building, which is not something I knew when I first played this build. So that's another thing you can do is on your agri world, which is producing your pearl diver jobs from anglers. Yeah, we can go ahead and use this to increase our consumer goods as well. As soon as we've accessed that. For now, we'll build a Psycore here, and if we remember to, we'll deprioritize this artisan to turn them into a Psycore worker, as we don't need artisans. But yeah, everything is going as to plan, I guess. Oh, and the AI is expanding now. Look at that. Unfortunately for you, AI, I will murder you very soon. Very, very soon. Yeah, and also after this, our Unity will start to get really good too, which is nice. Our tech won't, since we simply do not have enough pops to produce good tech, but we'll do our best, right? Then we'll get to 400 from the side core on our capital, as a little boost in pop efficiency there will definitely make a difference, but it won't really be enough, which kind of does suck, especially with the pop growth we're getting now. It's just tough. It would be nice to win a war against, a rival or something like that, but that's just a bit tough, isn't it? We only have 800 alloys, right? Yeah, it's just basically the +4 base alloy output, which is funny. And we can't declare war on AIs until year 40, I believe. So we can't just go ahead and murder the AI just because they're weaker than us, and have no planets. So yeah, we'll just chill for now. We'll just chill. We're still buying 40 minerals, and we'll continue to scale up, pass agendas and slowly level up our leaders. And kind of every time they do, we'll pick some fun traits. So yeah. One thing you may have noticed in my early game tech picking is I always ignored genome mapping because it has this little blue icon path which unlocks the biological path, but we can now go ahead and take this as we definitely need the extra pop growth and we don't no longer need to hold out for colonial centralization. So go ahead and take that. I just realized one thing I forgot to go over completely is my traits. I am aquatic, latent psionic, rapid breeders, enduring, solitary, and unruly. I apologize for not going over this during the video, but I forgot at the beginning. I do play these in multiplayer, right? So I don't know when they're going to start. Um, and sometimes I'm like tabbed out or that kind of thing when the game is starting, and then the game starts, and I'm in a hurry to get everything I want to say in before I start falling behind. And we do get All Star, who's a really good advisor. Who also has Shroud Preacher, by the way. But it's kind of awkward because it's an official who's an advisor, so they want to be on the counselor with Shroud Preacher, which is like a job for a governor. So it's kind of a little bit awkward, but I usually like them anyway, um, as they're still very useful. It's always useful to have high level leaders, and this also does affect Unity output a lot. So if I put them on the you know governor for now, for example, we are going to get a bunch of extra Unity, which never hurt anyone. So we do need to take them off if we do want to start building ships, though, as they make your ships really, really inefficient, like really, really bad. Do not build ships with All Star. Also, it's finally time to get blue lasers here. Also, as we do want to start working towards tier 2 disruptors, although we don't have crystal tech yet, so we are kind of waiting for that, as crystal tech is super, super important these days. As crystal tech is what gives access to the tier 2 consumer goods building, which is what we're going to need to start building up some actual significant amount of consumer goods and that kind of thing. We're also just slowly building up these planets. You will notice without prosperity that, damn, these buildings do build really slowly, but we don't really have the pop growth or anything to keep up with that anyway, so it's definitely not a big deal, and we will also prioritize these researchers as, well, I need more tech. So every researcher we can get definitely matters. So yeah, we'll be back when there's something significant to do. Alright guys, we do get access to Breach the Shroud here. And Breach the Shroud is a really important milestone, as every time you get it, you want to immediately go into your situation log and immediately clear this research, as we want to, psionically get all the big bonuses as soon as possible. And one of them is, getting the building on your capital. Then once you form a covenant, you get a really efficient building. We definitely want one of those, so we'll start working towards that as soon as we can by researching this situation. As soon as we get it, it does take a while. It's a pretty hefty one that takes a lot of tech, but our tech is getting up there. 406. And just remember, most of the bonuses here are just coming up from our researcher efficiency just going up. These are at 5.3 now, which is definitely pretty solid. So yeah, we'll keep working on that. Another thing, just remember to do this is every time you see agenda can be passed for less than 1,000 Unity, just go ahead and do it, as it gives some good leader EXP and you can get some good options as well. Voidcraft is great, as we do want better Voidcraft. And we can also do stuff like Psionic Supremacy, which just gives massive boosts to our Psionic pops. And also remember to turn off Education Campaign, as that can be very expensive if you accidentally leave it on, and I've definitely done that before. So yeah, just remember to turn that off. And yeah, we can just continue to build up our worlds here, Well, guys, it's time to take our next Ascension perk. I think there's a couple obvious choices, but I think Tech Ascendancy will be good, as we don't really need Unity. So yeah, we'll go ahead and take Tech Ascendancy as our second choice. Increasing our tech speed just a little bit here too is always nice. And we have now finished the first part of reaching into the Shroud, so we will need to make some energy credits here. Let's sell some food, sell some consumer goods, and even sell some alloy. Reach into the Shroud, and then we want to try to communicate with the Shroud. And we basically want to research this, and we'll take whatever covenant we get. They're all good in some way or another, so yeah, we'll just take the first one we get, and we'll also just keep, trying to find disruptor tech, as that is super important. Yes, because we only have one scientist on our council, our tech speed is very slow. Um, right, but we do get good unity, and by having a minister of defense here, we are going to be leveling them up, which will help us with things like naval cap and military as soon as we start uh, doing that at probably around year 31, in preparation for our year 40, of course, as well, I have a lot of AIs around that I need to take to scale. And this will be a very good example game for how you can scale out of a terrible spawn. Um, a lot of it is through conquest, right? And in order to do conquest, you're going to need to be stronger than your neighbors, which means you will need some good play to get there. But we are going to be showing you the steps towards um, actually doing that as soon as we can. So. And look at that, Tier 2 alloy nanoplants. And some other quick updates too is we also, very luckily, managed to roll Forge Focus on our governor here, which means we'll be able to upgrade this to get a lot more alloys from jobs once we start to militarize. And, our leaders are definitely coming along nicely, which is one of the benefits of this build. We also got Navy Instructor, giving us extra naval cap, and we also get Composer, which is also really, really brilliant. And we're going to go ahead and form that covenant right away. And as you can see, our pop efficiency, we haven't built a single research lab yet. Our research continuously goes up, and that's the power of leaders and, psionics, which, is just really fun to play as. Also, we'll go ahead and start, expanding our planets, ready for any upgrades that we do see coming. One of the things we really need is the Tier 2 civilian building. We already have Tier 2 alloy building, right, which is really nice. I do have it off. Oh, I have it on, actually. Let me disable this for now, as we do want to save some motes. And, with a single metallurgist job, we don't really need that extra 2 alloys per month. So we can go ahead and start building that up now. We're building a starbase on our capital, getting ready to, get some more shipyards, and yeah, it's all going well. Also, just remember to confirm the covenant when this pops up. It's pretty simple. Just click confirm. Another relatively large efficiency thing you should be doing is once you're, I got a branch office now, is once you get a few pops on your, or getting close to 25 pops on one of your planets, preferably the agri world usually, as you want to immediately relocate enough pops on here to get to 25. As you can see, I've done that. I've only got 25 pops on my capital with 0 workers, and got rid of as many technicians as I could to move them over to this planet, and that doesn't mean we're making a huge food and consumer goods income, but we're going to swap off of that very soon as well. So it's a good timing to both have, those extra food, that extra food and consumer goods, and to get this planet to 25 pops, allowing us to build a psi core on this planet as well, massively boosting our pop efficiency. Also, as you can see, we're just also remembering to expand out and take, free systems here and there wherever we can. As we prepare for, year 30, which is when we'll start to militarize. And look at that, we managed to roll disruptors. This is a very nice, timely roll. Just before we plan to militarize, we also get afterburners, so we can have some ships that aren't too slow. And building ships that aren't too slow are a bit of a bait. I do it all the time by accident, and they're just not fun to use, so try to avoid that whenever possible. Also, we'll go ahead and upgrade our alloy nanoplants now, as we can afford to do so. And we'll also need to, let's sell some more food, I guess. Sell some consumer goods, and we don't really need influence. So we can just do that. And buy some more minerals. Let's see if we can buy just enough for our, what's it called? Psi core here. And now that we have this building, by the way, we can also just move some pops back to our capital. We don't need this many anglers, as you can imagine. So yeah, we can get some more, mineral worker jobs and that kind of thing. That's going to be a little bit more helpful than having this crazy amount of food. Let's actually get a couple more back to our homeworld. Let's do that many, sure. Yeah, just get a couple extra miners, give us some extra minerals, so we can build up an army eventually too, because we'll definitely need that as well. Never forget to build an army, guys. It's pretty terrible. That's why we're researching Psionic army. Oh, we get civilian fabricators and cruisers. Cruisers are actually a pretty easy to roll, especially since I have plus voidcraft. So I'm gonna do civilian industries actually. Right, because we don't need to militarize right away, like instantly. We can wait a little bit, which is nice. Also, we can go ahead and take this, and I think we'll take galactic force projection, as we're not really close to needing an EQ yet on our homeworld as well. You can tell our ability to have this many pops to actually populate this planet is just not close. We have 29 pops in our capital, 23 on this colony, and like almost nothing on this world, which continues to suffer from intermittent high pops as we struggle to, uh, this tidally locked is minus 30% districts, which means this planet's effective size is just tiny. Planet capacity of 33. Like, what's my homeworld? My homeworld is more than twice as big, 74, right? So, yeah, pretty sad. All right, I think now it's the time. Now is as good a time as any. Is we can get rid of meritocracy now, and we can swap into catalytic. This should massively. Ooh, where is catalytic? Catalytic. Is there no catalytic? Oh, it's right here. I'm blind. Okay, let's reform our government quickly into catalytic now. We can do this after year 31, which is why this build is exceptionally good for peacetimers longer than year 30, um, as it lets you kind of giga econ until you have the chance to go militarized, and then, well, you can go ahead and select military stuff, such as catalytic and stuff, just in time for, what's it called? The peace timer, and build up just enough alloys and such to get some good ships. Now, we do miss our cruiser roll, so I think we should wait for that. We also get ion disruptors here, so we should wait for that before we start building ships. But we can also go ahead and change this to a forge capital, prioritize these jobs here. We do need both enforcers, which is quite funny for these holdings. We only have 6% crime, which is nice in our capital, despite having a criminal corp on us, which is quite funny. We also go militarized economy now, and I think what we want to do is we want to move over a few pearl divers, as we're still quite positive on consumer goods. So move over a few of those. We can also, I think, cancel a few of these pearl divers here just to get these back into tech. And look at that, 160 alloys is not bad. We're not making that much tech, but once this updates again, we should be back to a good amount. Yeah, 411, 160 tech, 111 minerals too now, right? Which is really nice, as we're no longer burning minerals to make alloys or anything like that. Or these special resources, of course. And yeah, keep in mind, this is still without, we're missing certain production buildings and that kind of thing. So this will only go up. There's only 10 catalytic technicians as well. Only 10 pops, right? Less than a sixth of our population is working on alloys, and we have this kind of alloy income. It's definitely really nice, and we can also enable this building here as it upgrades. I'm just going to leave it enabled so I don't forget when the building upgrade is done. And we disable all the artisan jobs, and this will actually increase the efficiency of the pearl divers, which will help us with our consumer good needs, which is nice. And we can just arrest the manifesti as well, as that is never a good thing to have. And we should have done this a long time ago, but we can build the shipyards and like fleet academies and stuff we need to, boost the efficiency of our ships when we do start building those. And we have 150 naval cap, which means we don't necessarily need to immediately start building fortresses or starports, but we'll start upgrading them anyway, as we're preparing to, for our year 40 peace timer. Also, because this megacorp has built branch offices on me, I can actually murder them whenever I want. So we might be murdering them soon, right? As we get tier 2 of this. Really sucks we don't get cruisers, but we can just do destroyers as well. Ion disruptor destroyers will certainly destroy any AIs or casual players in our path, as I'm pretty confident they won't know how to deal with ship technology like that. Disruptors, you need hardening to beat them, basically, right? And it's very difficult to get hardening in the first 40 years of game unless you are very, very good at rushing the tech tree. So we won't have to worry too hard about that. I think we can also just continue to do mind over matter. It's just a fast agenda, and that will definitely help us, cycle agendas and continue our leader level ups, as we are getting very close to our destiny trait on our main governor here, which could give us some really good traits if we're lucky. Basically, we're praying for Shroud Preachers, plus 25% job output for Psionic pops, and well, that's just plus 25% job output, period, for us, as all our pops are Psionic, and that would be really amazing. So, yeah. Alright, we can also start our next tradition tree now, which is definitely going to be Supremacy. Once again, this is for naval cap, mostly. as we will need, some extra naval cap. We can also stop buying minerals now. We don't really need that many minerals anymore, and we can focus more on technicians. But like take a look at this planet, man. It's just so bad. I've cleared all blockers, and I can't even build all 5 generator districts on this world. This is the worst planet I think I've ever gotten. Minus, like, besides the 5 energy districts, there's not minus 30% districts. It's just so crazy. Like, the planet is already full, and there's nothing on it, basically. Very wild, and quite funny, to be honest. Like, I can't even hate. Like, it is the way it is, right? And it's definitely very funny. So, I'll give it that. I'll definitely give it that. We do also get Dyson Swarm tech now, and I don't think this next role will be cruisers, but if it is, having some destroyers is not bad, especially if you happen to run into a torpedo fleet or something like that. So let's go ahead and make our all-ion disruptor. Terrible shields ships, which I kind of like these ships because they look weak, right? Anyone who doesn't really know what they're doing will see these ships and be like, wow, those are weak ships. Well, in reality, I mean, these things are really, really good. I mean, it would be nice to have picket computers, or a little bit more speed. But you can't have everything, right? So let's go ahead and start creating these, especially with this terrible planet spawn, right? Having 200 alloy income with, generally positive resources and still 400 tech is not bad at all already. So yeah, we can go ahead and start building these destroyers now. Definitely will be, nice to have those. And also, armies. Build some psionic armies. Psionic armies are really, really strong. So you won't need too many to defeat most players in the early to mid game. All right, guys. So I think the first thing I want to do is claim this guy, but I can't declare war on him. But I can declare war on this guy for Oh no, I can't. Why can't I use expropriation? Did his branch close? Wait, he has a branch on me. Why can't I? Let's see. Ah, okay. We can't declare a expel war on them because we have claims on their capital. Okay, that's fine. I guess I will claim them up when it's year 40. So for now, we'll just keep building up. This is a cool thing. So since we got the Psionic Ascension so early, we get to get the Sanctum of the Composer really early, and the Sanctum of the Composer is a really broken building now. We unfortunately do need gases, and I have very greedily skipped gases every time I came across that, which means the only way we can get it is by buying it from somebody. So let's see if we can find an empire out here who is willing to trade us for gases. Nope. And this might take a while, so I'll be back if I find somebody. Okay, guys. Unluckily, I was not able to find anyone to trade me gas. Fortunately, we rolled Shroud Preacher. So let's go ahead and take that, and we can see that we're going to get a really nice bonus to our pops soon. So 240 alloys now when this completes. Let's see how much we're getting. 260. That's just from clicking level up on a leader, right? Which is really amazing. We did also get cruisers, so we can start researching that. And now we just really gotta pray we can find somebody to trade me gas. I'll give this guy one more trade deal. Of what something I would consider quite fair, which is 20 energy credits for one exotic gas. I mean, they can use that to buy more than one exotic gas per month back. So, I mean, let's see if they say yes. And if they don't want to help us, well, they are going to be on our hit list. So, yeah, it's just when you can help somebody out, why would you choose not to? Like I'm not sure. I'm not sure about this mentality. Like, unless you know that we're gonna be fighting or something later. But like, I'm normally a pretty friendly player. I'm a bit pet peeved by that. Like, you don't have to play like that. Yeah. Okay, luckily they sent me another offer for some gases. So thank you. I guess you were just needing your gases at that point or something. I still don't get it because you can always um, spend those energy credits I was gonna send you for gases anyway. So anyways, thanks. I can now build my Sanctum the Composer, and I don't have to come murder you. um, in fairness, I don't think I would over some gases, but like, yeah, just I would recommend, guys, if you have the ability to play nice and to help people out. I would say it generally pays off and then some. I mean, most of my tournament placements, um, finishing in podium and Monty tournaments twice now, have all simply been from me playing like well diplomatically. Um, helping out people when they can, and turns out when you help other people out, they'll help you out when you need it, right? So yeah, very very good thing to keep in mind. This is amazing. I just got a psionic event which gave me side jump drives, and basically all you have to do is when you can reach into the shroud, and sometimes you get really good tech options, and this time we get side jump drive, which is really awesome. We'll definitely research that as soon as we can, though it's a bit expensive, so it might take us a while for that. On the other news, like I think our sanctum is not done yet, and our tech is already looking quite good, considering how much alloys we're making, 266 with 3 planets, and we also have cruisers now. So let's go ahead and start building some cruisers. Of course, we're gonna do a very very basic build design with all disruptors. We'll do 3 shields and probably something like this, double afterburner with the picket computer, and yeah, that should be definitely a pretty strong ship and difficult to beat this early on. Let's call this like the Nyaz cruiser or something. And we can go ahead and add ship, add some Nyaz cruisers, and completely fill up that fleet. And yeah, we should definitely be looking very very strong now. And we do also need more rare crystals, so let's buy an extra one here. Um, yeah, this economy is definitely very tight, as you can see. So yeah, let's go ahead and buy a couple extras so we can build a few more Nyaz cruisers, as we're basically getting ready for war at this point. As year 40 is going to roll around in just a couple months, and we can start moving this ship towards, our opponent here. Let's take a look at their starbase. They have a 6K starbase, which is actually pretty big. Um, so I'll build up some more ships before I go ahead and fly into that. Um, so I'll actually declare war on. I think I'll declare war on this AI first, take them over, and use their economy to help me kill the criminal syndicate over there, where it will take me a little bit to outscale them because, well, they do have that decent sized starbase, and disruptors really do suck against starbases. So do keep that in mind if you're ever attacking into a large starbase, as you can definitely face some adversity if you're not careful. So let's go ahead, declare war. Also, let's go ahead and check our default species rights. I think we actually want this to be full citizens with utopian abundance. It's usually the best way to assimilate pops quickly without destroying your economy. And let's go ahead, declare war, conquer claim. And this should be a walk in the park, as they have almost nothing. And did we get void worms spawning in our capital? Let's take care of the void worms first. And should we research this now? It's gonna take like 10 years, but sure. So, okay, that void worms are taken care of, and now let's fly in and kill all this stuff. And our energy credits did take a big hit, but we can sell some alloys to sustain our energy credits for a long time, so no worries about that. And yeah, just make sure our fleet is being reinforced as well, and we should be good. Yeah, are we getting high pops yet again? Not quite. Okay, good. Definitely don't want to see high pops, but it might happen soon, so. Take a look how easily our economy is sustained, by the way. What is this? 5 pearl divers are sustaining our entire alloys. Um, 9 anglers are sustaining our entire food economy, basically. Um, and I haven't even built like a single hydroponics or anything like that. Really, really amazing. Scum and villainy on Sirius? Oh, are you kidding me? Should have launched an anti-crime campaign earlier. That's gonna suck. Get a criminal or two on this planet. Don't think we'll need the precinct houses, but yeah, our ships should also easily win here, as disruptors versus non-disruptors is just a bit unfair usually. And yeah, we can go ahead and fly our armies in. We should have been already flying our armies in, but we're a bit forgetful and not very good at war. But it doesn't matter when our economy is better, right? So don't even know what to take here. Maybe just infinite opportunities. It's not bad. Gauging enemy fleet. They don't really stand a chance, though we are losing a little bit of hull. Not a big deal. Yeah, 92%. Don't really need to heal up. We can just go straight in, I think. You can put this on aggressive, so if you put armies on aggressive, they land automatically whenever they can, and that's definitely a lot easier than microing them, so we set our armies to automatic, and they should automatically invade any planets they see, so we don't have to, click on them or anything. See, watch as they fly into the planet all by themselves, I think. And, we can take over some of these planets. See what this planet is, by the way. Like, is there good energy districts here? I hope so, because it's kind of what I'm looking for. Let's also go ahead and fly this into their home system. Fly this over. Let's also start building a second fleet, I think. No, we can still reinforce this. There's still a few ships missing. We lost a few destroyers, it looks like. Not a big deal. Let's go ahead and take that. And also start building up a second fleet of destroyers, or cruisers, I think. As we still have a lot of naval cap left. Look at that. So. Also, this planet is next to a phonetic xenophobe fallen empire, so I don't think it can be colonized, which is quite funny and very unlucky for our guy who spawned in that corner and, well, left the game immediately. Kind of understandably, to be honest. And, oh no, our armies are getting caught. That's not good. Hopefully we don't lose too many here, as we did not build very many. But the fleet is not too big, and our fleet should be arriving soonish. We can even turn on the gas edict to speed them up a bit. We should have been using Crystal Edict at least during the fights, but I mean, our ships are so overwhelmingly strong, it's not too important. We only lost a couple armies here, so we still should have enough. Yeah, 340. Yeah, we'll just manually land that just in case the game thinks that's not enough. And also fly our ships back over here. Let's take a look at this guy's starbase. Still 6k. Yep, that's not going to be enough very soon. So also make sure we keep up with building some more psionic armies, as always going to need more of those. And we can send this back to heal. And yeah, very soon this guy's empire should be mine. Psionic armies will be cleaning up very, very quickly, as each individual army is very strong, so you don't get bottlenecked by like combat width or something like that. So definitely very, very nice. And that's the end of them. Let's take a look at what planets we inherited. So this is the home world. This is the secondary world. So this is a fantastic generator planet. So let's go ahead and immediately designate this as a generator planet. Let's also sell some resources to kind of quickly get some consumer goods to start building with. So this is undoubtedly a generator planet. This is undoubtedly probably just like a generic research planet or something. So we can build a Psycorps on that immediately. And what we can actually do is we should have actually used assimilation. Set default rights. Let's change this over to assimilation when we can. And this will temporarily kind of have everyone unemployed, which will get them ready to, join in as whatever new jobs you create for them. So yeah, I think researchers for this planet and labs for this planet, and that should be great. Oh, and generators, for this planet. Don't really want this, so let's just demolish that right away before we forget to. As we do want, like, one singular good capital. And take a look at the efficiency. We're at 20 without a ring and 7.2 tech. Really, really ridiculous. I love it. Let's also fly this over. Let's find a second leader here. Sure, hostility. And get ready to invade our next neighbor over, the Criminal Corp. I do not feel sympathy for Criminal Corps. If you don't want to get brutally murdered in a casual game, don't play Criminal Corp. It's that easy. Yeah, take a look at this. Like, the crime on my planets is just terrible. Like, I want to get rid of these guys for sure. And yeah, we're gonna have 46 pops on this planet, right? So we're definitely gonna need to prepare a lot of research labs. But it will be a little bit difficult to do with our economy. There are some research labs and stuff on this planet, so I don't need to get rid of them. So as long as they're producing energy, we should be pretty happy. So, and they're definitely going to do that. So nice. So let's fly this over here and declare war on this guy. Orion Syndicate, I'm sorry. If you don't want to get murdered, don't play Crime Corp and ruin everyone else's game. Like, just play regular Corp, you know? Oh. Okay, I need to unclaim that then. I cannot unclaim while at war. That's the problem with some stuff. There's just too many rules. Easy to forget. I want to retroactively check if I just didn't read that properly. It says no claiming capital systems until you're 75. No claiming, bombarding, or taking player capital homeworlds until 2275. That's right. Yeah, I guess. I shouldn't be able to have a claim on his capital, so I will just status quo. Um, as I should not be able to have a claim on his capital. That's against the rules, so I have to status quo that. That's my bad. That is definitely my bad. Okay, well, we will be back once something more entertaining can happen. We'll just fix up these planets, get them real efficient. Basically, what we'll do is we'll convert this entire world into as much tech as we possibly can. And then we'll convert the other world there into as much, probably energy as we possibly can. But now we can't expropriate this guy for another 10 years, which is super annoying. Unlucky. That's, well, not unlucky, it's unskilled because I didn't read the rules properly, but, whatever. So, well, I've been doing a little bit of pop managing, so I've been shuffling some pops back and forth. So we now have 25 pops on the generator world and 32 on this tech world, and we still have 11 where I don't really know where to send them. So probably to this ocean world, which sucks because they'll have terrible habitability. But alas, we still kind of need it. We can also enable this at this point. That'll increase the pop happiness a lot, and we definitely have some unemployed specialists here, so that'll also help with that. So I do think, yeah, we'll move some of these sibling pops over here, and yeah, they'll have terrible habitability, but at least they'll be working a job that we actually need. So that will definitely help a little bit. It does suck that this planet is just so small. Like, there's barely enough space for us to build up, the food we need. As you can see, we're losing a lot, but yeah, hopefully as these guys assimilate, that'll get better. We still have 4,000 buffers, so we don't have to get too scared yet until we get a little bit lower in pops. And we are already much stronger than a lot of the galaxy, right? So if we take a look at our Diplo weight, we're doing pretty well. Charlton is above us, but, we're not too worried about. They're a hive with a big fleet, so. Also, we can even go into Supremacist or something if we want, but Crime Boss arrested an Alpha Centauri. Nice, nice. We did negotiate with the Crime Syndicate here, so they deleted the branch offices, and I won't murder them. So, I guess it's a win-win. So, not bad. And we do also need to still get a few more labs. So let's go ahead and make sure, keep building labs as we try to push towards 1,000 tech now. Kind of using the pops we got from this extra AI here. Yeah, there's not a lot of scaling opportunity with the amount of plants we started with, but with a couple extra, we could definitely start to do something. But we definitely need more pops still, right? As we're really, really low on pops. So yeah, still wonder how we can deal with that. We're also just going to take our ecology project now, as we never want to get that too late. I'm kind of thinking of maybe vassalizing this guy. I will feel a little bad because this guy's done. He's called Meowdolf Kittler. Maybe not. I shouldn't even. I probably should not have read that out loud. But okay, yeah, I feel less bad about that now. So let's go ahead and murder this guy with a interesting name. Interesting, let's say. Let's just make them into a tributary, so they get to play the game, but just paying us a little bit of tax, if you know, if they want to live at least. Yeah, look at how hard it is to get enough of these jobs, man. It's pretty tough. It's definitely pretty tough. We're still losing a little bit of food here, so we're gonna need something. I don't really know what though. Maybe we can work this one angler job on our capital and just replace the rest with industrial as we get minerals for it. Yes, he's got a 9K starbase. That's actually pretty impressive. It's a pretty big starbase, considering this is not a very serious lobby, so I don't expect to see the best players in here. We're still losing 60 consumer goods as well. That does mean we will need a second planet for that, undoubtedly. So I guess we can use this factory world. And I guess that means we'll need to just employ some of these, which sucks because these are terrible efficiency, right? Like terrible. So let's get rid of this and turn this into a civilian industry and upgrade that a little bit, and that should help our consumer goods just a little bit. Yeah, let's go ahead and enable all of these jobs and get the civilian industry going, and hopefully that should get us into the positive. Oh, I should have enabled edicts here for this fight against the starbase, but it's not a big deal. I won't take too many losses, and I have good alloys, so um, oh, why do I have to fall all the way back to our capital to repair? Okay, screw repairing. Let's just go forward. Yeah, let's just make sure we remember to top up our fleets whenever we can and just keep pushing forward at this point. We also get jump drives soon, so we can go back and fit our ships with jump drives at like year 50, and that'll definitely surprise a lot of people, I think. Yeah, so as I attacked it, I completely forgot I was recording for a second there. Um, but yeah, if you want to, you just don't call yourself Meowdolf if you want to live. That's probably a pretty good Stellaris tip right there. You know, like not a bad idea. It was brilliant shipwright, driven educator. These are great choices. I think we'll go driven educator, and then every um, upgrade from here on out will pick something that benefits us more, and that one will just help us get all the rest of our leaders up to their destiny traits, um, which is pretty nice. And also, this will help us with our basic economy, which will let us scale a little bit, especially considering we haven't rolled Arc Furnace yet. I mean, that'll definitely help a lot. I should start building Dyson Swarms, though, as Dyson Swarms would undoubtedly be very, very helpful at this point. We definitely got some good targets. This is a cool Dyson Swarm that will give minerals, so I do want to try that one out. We have a Barnard Star here with a 3. That's not very good. We have 2 souls, right? So I guess we can build another Dyson Swarm around Soul, around my original Soul, and then there's another one that can be built here. And I do want to just try that mineral one because that's just so cool. I've never seen minerals on a star like that before, so yeah. Also, let's reach into the shroud so we see increased ship firing rate, and of course we get minus influence instead. Not a big deal. Let's also merge these as, you know, joining forces with our armies there will definitely be not a bad thing. Here we can also get another generator district and build a psi core on this planet as well, which will, you know, give us a lot more unity power and that kind of thing. We definitely need another crystal planet somewhere too, but I mean, looking at our planets, like we have no districts anywhere. I guess this size 16 will be a nice little help to us. I should claim some of these planets, shouldn't I? I have 1,000 influence. Yeah. Was it capitals that can't be claimed? Yeah. Yeah. No taking player homeworlds. Homeworlds is specific wording, which means, yeah, this is a very wasteful claim, by the way, because I did not claim before the war started, and we finally get arc furnaces here at year 50, which is pretty crazy unlucky, and we'll take prosperity as well to boost the efficiency of the arc furnaces when we do get them, as prosperity does increase the stuff you get from space, which is something you might not know. This guy surrenders, giving me some of his economy and a couple of his planets, and these planets should definitely be pretty helpful as I don't really have enough. Let's also just quickly settle like a pop there so this planet won't decolonize once all the pops die, and we can figure out what we want to do with 2 new planets. Alpine world. Don't have a great thing to do with this one. I guess we'll just leave this as a generator world. And we don't really need a mining world, so we need ecological adaptation. So we should take adaptability too, just to get the guaranteed research option for ecological transformation, whatever it's called that we need. What's this? Ecological adaptation, right? For now, there's like 1 or 2 pops on each one of these planets, and they're going to die out really quickly. So we don't have to figure out what we need to do with these planets quickly. We just need to figure out what we need to do with them eventually. We also get this mining world. There's a lot of mining worlds. We really don't need so many mining worlds. At least some of these will need to be turned into food worlds, of course, since we are a very food-focused build. So, yeah, our economy is still not great, even with this guy as a vassal. But his economy will be completely shattered at this point, since we are, you know, taking a pretty big tax. So we do have 1 subject now. Anyways, yeah. With that in mind, let's go ahead and sit back and scale a little bit. You know, upgrade some buildings. Oh yeah, we can always use these plans for building slots, as we definitely need more building slots. And like focus on rare resources, right? So where's the synthetic crystal plant? We need one of those. We're gonna need volatile motes and that kind of thing. So yeah, we'll go ahead and do all of that. Oh, and I say that as arc furnace tech completed literally like I think a second after I cut. So we can go ahead and start building those as well, and this will really allow us to start scaling. And this is a very late arc furnace find, but we did need to militarily expand to have, you know, enough pops to actually play the game in any sort of functional way. So there's also that. And why can't I build an arc furnace here? Ah, I just didn't see the arc furnace system. So there we go. We should probably have at least 1 more arc furnace system somewhere. We do get potential achieved there too, which is nice. 12, 11, 4, 8, 14. 14 is the next best we have. There's a 22 right here. Oh, I should have claimed that. 22 is crazy. I don't think I've ever seen 22 before. 13, 13, 9, and 8. You know what? 15, 11. This is so greedy. Oh, there's a 19 here. Okay, I don't mind a 19. I'll just take my own 19, and I won't worry too much about that. So let's go ahead and destroy whatever hostile fleet is in there. It's got a science ship ready as well, so let's fly a science ship. Oh, I have jump drafts now. Right. Jump a science ship over. And yeah, we can clear this out and very quickly colonize that, I think. Why does he want his systems back? You destroyed my economy, GG. Well, I'm sorry, I guess, but I'm really not. maybe next time you can give yourself an appropriate name and we won't murder you because I'll have sympathy. I do have sympathy for most players, right? Like, I don't want to go around killing everyone in a relatively casual lobby. Um, but I also do want to make a good video, so I do want to show you guys, like, if you get a terrible spawn, that's what you have to do to grow, right? Is you have to take nearby people who are weak, um, as otherwise you really won't have the opportunity to grow with 3 planets. You know, you're going to need to wait for habitats, and then you're going to need to start spamming those out, and by the time your pops are actually growing at a reasonable speed on them, like, the game is just hard. Like, the game is just hard. Also, like, if I even have give us systems back at this point, all the pops are dead, so they're not going to do anything. Like, um, so yeah, it's definitely going to benefit me a lot more to keep these systems than it will for me to give them back, so. It's probably Meowdolf Kittler leaving there, as he's definitely a little upset he died there. So yeah, I guess when he turns into an AI, it's actually better, right? Because the AIs are a little better managed than some of the players, which is really funny to say, but at least they cheat, right? They spawn in resources. At least on the depending on the difficulty. I'm not sure what difficulty this game is set to actually, so I don't know if they'll be spawning in resources, but yeah, not bad at all. Getting energy nexus down. Yeah, we're definitely going to be scaling pretty well. Um, 2 arc furnaces is definitely very solid as well. Yeah, we're definitely having a lot of good scaling here. Get the arc furnace upgrading, get the Dyson swarms upgrading. You know, this is when you get both Dyson swarms and arc furnaces rolling. That's when you really start scaling because you don't need pops to run those jobs, right? So that's when you can really start feeling your economy grow really quickly, which I'm glad we're finally doing. So guys, quick update. I have started the Conquer Nature agenda. This agenda is unlocked by adaptability, which we have now taken just to get this agenda. And basically what it does is it gives you ecological adaptation. Or more specifically, it gives you the next research along the chain of the 3 terraforming techs, which are first terraforming itself, then ecological adaptation, which allows you to terraform planets that are already colonized, and then eventually ecological or climate restoration, which that gives you the ability to turn planets into Gaia worlds and terraform tomb worlds and that kind of thing. So yeah, very, very powerful techs, and you can get them guaranteed through adaptability, which is definitely a really, really powerful perk. So we're going to try and get those as soon as possible, and we can terraform some of these planets here into ocean planets, as currently they are not, or we can terraform the Gaia planets even, right? So that every pop can grow on them and have equal efficiency. But yeah, as is, right, we definitely need another agri world, as the one we do have is like currently it's just completely capped out. Like there's not much more we can do to make this world efficient, and yeah, as you can see, we still keep running into consumer goods shortages. We're building a second consumer goods world, and it's just not quite enough. With just how crazily inefficient, what's it called, some of these worlds are. We definitely just need more ocean planets. With only 3 of them, it's always going to be tough, so definitely need at least one more. Probably the size 15 will turn this one into an agri world, and an ocean world, and then we'll turn the rest probably into Gaia's. Right, as it will take a little bit longer before we get access to Gaia worlds, so yeah, anyhow, in the meantime, we're just kind of scaling. And we also finished our 3rd civic research, right, which will allow us to select a 3rd civic again, and we basically just want to add meritocracy back in. We will need a little bit of extra unity, so we'll do that as soon as we can. Hey guys, take a look at this. I've never had this on my planet before, tidally locked, which allows you to make a day's side farm construction, which adds 6 generator districts and plus 30% energy credits from jobs. That's actually pretty cool. So we're definitely going to build that and, you know, see how that works. Nice, you know? Also, I just wanted to point out, look at how powerful arc furnaces are as they start to come online. We're up to 400 minerals, and we're not working a single mineral job throughout our whole empire, I don't think. And if we are, it's by accident. 160 energy credits with the Dyson swarms coming online too. 157 energy credits here, 50 and 50 here. I mean, this one, like, an energy credit Dyson Swarm would be better, but it's just really cool to see a mineral Dyson Swarm, so I built it anyway. Um, there's, of course, a 22 arc deposit somewhere here that, well, I don't have access to anymore because, well, I already maxed out my arc furnaces. But yeah, as you can see, this is how you can really scale out of almost any build. We have enough pops now, or enough planets to kind of scale internally. Um, with 1k influence, we can really do whatever we want with this amount of influence from enmity, right? Like we can construct habitats if we want, and we can use these habitats um, to build naval cap, and this is when we really start to scale, right? Like we can use this influence to make claims, and if this was a single player game, right, you could go ahead and at this point conquer the entire galaxy with your navy. You could go out and just like vassalize everyone. You have enough influence, making +9 a turn through enmity, right? To you can go and vassalize anyone. You have enough influence to negotiate the contract to whatever you want. Um, in addition, we get access to what is this tech? Ecological adaptation, so we can now change our planets to whatever we want, and on our next what's it called, tradition tree completion, we can even turn them into Gaia worlds. And at this point, we're kind of home free, right? Like this is how you can scale with literally any build. At this point, I would say it's relatively easier to play than the early games of most builds, as well, having this much resource production, 450 alloys at year 60 is nothing to scoff at. It's not amazing. Keep in mind, like, we did start with 3 terrible, like, min-sized planets, right? But with this amount of alloys, it should be no problem. We have jump drives unlocked. Uh, yeah, it's how you can really scale out of any spawn is, simply through conquest. And in order to scale up to that point, you will have to be smart with your pops and to focus, down the certain techs which you'll need. For most builds, that's arc furnace. For this build, it happens to be colonial centralization, which allows us to get, the telepath jobs, which is what really pushes this build to a point where it is truly ridiculous, making 20 alloys per pop before we even have ring. So we will wait until we have ring and build that too, just to show you guys how ridiculous it gets. So we'll be back in a bit. Well, guys, there also is one last component to scaling, which I've kind of forgot about until now, and it is simply getting your EQ started. So we have Galcom now, so it's really cheap to buy minerals. Let's go ahead and buy enough minerals so that we can start our Cumulinopolis. And oh, we need to clear one more blocker. So once that's done, we can start to, build an Cumulinopolis, which is really the last pillar of scaling. Once you have an Cumulinopolis, you have basically infinite alloy districts. Right, and as you can see, with 20 alloys per pop, we're not going to need too many metallurgists to produce all the alloys we need to build as many ships as our naval cap can handle. There's basically 2 more things you do now, right? Is you fill up all your star bases with anchorages. Once you've gone over cap quite a bit, like I already have, and you don't have that many star bases left, you basically just start to spam habitats everywhere, or you spam claims everywhere, and you take those planets or habitats, right, and you just cover them with nothing but fortresses, right, and use those fortresses to get as much naval cap as you can, and you can continue to scale and take over the entire galaxy. As you can see, we're already leading this galaxy in Diplo weight despite our terrible spawn. You can either vassalize other people or claim them. With the crazy amount of influence you have, you'll have no problems building rings, Cumulinopolises, or anything of that matter. Simply, take as you want, take as you please. Sometimes you will need more unity, right? So what you do for unity, the best way to get unity in the late game, it's just so small. There's just not enough pop spots. Like, it's so ridiculous. Let's actually do something funny here, which is let me move 3 pops from somewhere random onto this planet, and then build the capital building, because I think it's funny to get 25 pops on this basically effectively size 9 planet. Right. Yeah, anyhow. If you need more unity, how you scale that is you use, what are these? Culture worker jobs, which come from the Autocathon monument, and you can upgrade it through technology up to level 3, which it gives 6 unity producing jobs each, and you build one basically on every planet if you feel like you need more unity. This is true for spiritualist or non-spiritualist empires. This building is very good. And in addition, right, for spiritualist or psionic builds, we can build a psi core on every planet which hits 25 pops. Um, just a relatively efficient way to get a very good bump in unity and pop efficiency on every planet we build. And yeah, you can really kind of see how once you get arc furnaces and Dyson swarms down, your game just starts to scale super, super quickly, and you're really not long until you're playing in the late game. So, yeah. Um, Last thing I need to do is just find that one tech roll I need for orbital rings, and there we go. And basically after this, it's just mega structures, and I think you guys know what to do with mega structures. You just build them, right? Like so. Um, yeah, we'll go ahead and wait for that. So once you get orbital rings, which is kind of the last major scaling text before mega engineering, which usually does take a very long time to roll, um, and I would usually say by that time the game is sort of decided in a sense that by the time you roll mega engineering, you've basically won the game. If you're playing from a spawn situation like this, as you're going to be so ahead in tech and power level and all that kind of good stuff that you're just really not going to have a problem dealing with any AI. You might have a problem with some crises on harder difficulties, right? But that basically just means you'll need more naval cap or to look into ship design, which are definitely not my strong suits, especially ship design. I am not very good at it. So I won't be making any tutorials on good ship design until I learn better myself. Um, but yeah, you can also kind of see how the game plan is pretty simple once you get to late game. It's build more naval cap, build more alloys, until you can defeat the enemy. And um, the last major scaling tech I would say is orbital rings. Besides mega engineering, there are some small things, right? And this will really increase the efficiency of our pop. So we'll wait till this is done. By the way, guys, another thing you can do to scale if you want and you don't have a lot of influence is if there's a purifier in your galaxy, they're often a very, very good target for murdering. So we can actually go ahead and murder the purifier in our galaxy too. It might be pretty fun. Oh, we're getting a revolt. That's pretty silly. Okay, let's distribute some luxury goods, hire an entertainer, and this colony should be happy again. Yeah. Colonies are really not that complicated. So yeah, there we go. It's a bit annoying though. We are short a little bit of food, so we'll buy some of that. And right, for example, if I wanted to scale, I could basically just jump down to um, jump down to this purifier and start taking them out. That would actually be pretty funny. So let's do that in the meantime. Um, one last little war. I'm not sure I can even take them out, to be honest. They might be pretty strong. So let's go ahead and get those to jump as well. See if we can get our armies to jump. Nice. And just move them on over. We don't want to do the last jump there, as if you jump too much, the fleet power decreases a lot. So we don't want to jump into battle. We actually want to jump, wait a bit, then start the battle. But yeah, definitely very handy. Is there a way we can increase this tappiness even more? I guess not. Is the revolt situation still going up at 30 stability? Really? I'm not sure I can make it much more stable than that. I guess we should go manage our factions a bit. Manage faction, suppress faction, manage faction, suppress faction, and just promote spiritualism because, well, that's the easiest faction to satisfy in our empire, I think. Yeah, I think another thing is that the habitability is just so bad on this world. It's going to be a little bit tough always to get an adequate amount of happiness going on, but it shouldn't be too hard. Yeah, this jump is gonna still take a little bit longer as we need to build up a little bit more to jump that, and we can also colonize these habitats now and just kind of show you guys what I mean by just build bunkers and everything. Yeah, a lot of people often ask me in late game, yeah, how do you get more naval cap? Well, one is through leaders. Number two is through star bases. I mean, leaders are actually the more expensive way to get it, but it's more free in a sense. Star bases, well, upgrade star bases to star fortresses and give them a naval logistics office and as many anchorages as will fit. Right, pretty straightforward. Very tedious. You can't save a template and just like build in one button. So every single game you'll have to click like a million star bases to get that going. And then after that's saturated, you can only have so many star bases, right? It really is just going to every planet and covering them with fortresses. Um, and yeah, we're also still waiting on our rings. Let's see if our fleet power has recovered yet. Not quite, but it would be pretty funny to murder these silly little guys. I'm not even sure if I'm strong enough to, but if I can't, they're so far away from me. I'm safe for a really long time. Also, yeah, murdering a purifier is the fastest way to expand, right? As you get a total war goal on them, so you can very, very quickly wipe them out. And why is this planet still not getting any happier? Do I need to, like, luxury build residence or something? Something like that. Alright. Shroud incursion. Oops. Not a big deal, I guess, but a little bit annoying. Let's jump another set of these down as well. I'm really bad at using the jump UI, as I usually don't play the game until the point where you get jump drives. So, yeah, I was very lucky to get it this early this game. So we do have it here available to us, and looks like my ships have recovered. So let's go ahead and declare war and end threat of the silly little guys. And this will definitely make our empire sprawl like freaking enormous, but it will give us like a ton of systems, which would be pretty fun. If we did want to keep playing. I'm not sure. I did say at the beginning of this episode I did want to play until late game, but now that I'm almost at late game, I do have to say it is a little bit tedious. But I did definitely want to, like, after I got the terrible spawn, for me it kind of became about showing how to scale out of a terrible spawn. As well, I see a lot of players like just give up when they get a bad spawn, like size 12 planets, that kind of thing. And really, if you have a decent enough build, um, such as Teachers of the Shroud, or any kind of synth build that wants to play synth, like Trade or something like that, you can definitely scale out of a really bad situation. It just requires patience, and well, this one has so many alloys, it's really not difficult at all, but some of them will take a bit longer, some of them will take arc furnaces, right? Yeah, having soul really, really helps with scaling. As you can tell, having 2 souls has been really, really powerful for me. Giving me access to a ton of arc furnace deposits, right? Like, take a look at this, 100, 100. This one's 38, right? But it's still scaling up. Really, really awesome. Our revolt is now going down as well. And we can continue to expand out into the galaxy as fast as possible, killing the silly little guys, and yeah, definitely going really well. Also, we should theoretically be building rings around like literally every planet we have. The only reason to not do this is if you're like me and building rings is one of my least favorite Stellaris things, as it's super manual and super tedious. I don't really like it. That's one reason not to build a ring around every planet. But otherwise, in general, you want a ring around every single planet with a good amount of pops, as it really does help the pop efficiency a lot. As you guys will see when this is done, we can also make our tiny little planets just a tiny bit bigger. Yeah, and it looks like these little guys have no real amount of fleets that should pose any amount of problem to me. And I can jump across. Why can't I jump into this system? Weird. Like, why do I have to jump and then walk over? Pretty weird. Definitely pretty weird. Anyways, not a big deal. We can definitely exterminate the exterminator. They're so wide though; it's really insane. It'll take a good amount of time. But yeah, with Psionic and jump drives, at least it won't be difficult. So that's nice. Now I'm gonna be so wide after this, but I would say in general, wide is better than tall these days, and you should never worry about going too wide, as long as you're getting an increase in pops and that kind of thing, and you're actually using those pops to produce resources such as tech, keep the tech up, keep the alloys up. Right, we are building an accumulinopolis as well. One little trick is you can DQ your industrial districts, and this will build really cheap ecu districts once that's done, which give like I don't know like 10 jobs each for 450 minerals. So that's really cheap. You don't even have to pay any motes for them. That's a nice little trick you can do. So yeah. Anyhow, basically all we need to do here now is we can literally kill anyone we want, right? Even with only a 60k fleet at year 70, right, you'll outscale almost all AIs, even on Grand Admiral. Um, and you'll also beat all other fleets that say 60k because yours is so much more efficient. And if for some reason you can't, well, we're building the ring upgrade to get the more efficient ring building. Um, and we could also first go vassalize the weaker empires. There's a lot of options from here, right? I think the next thing, I'm not sure if you guys would be interested in this, but if you're still watching, let me know. Would you be interested to see me try to scale with like more randomized builds or, uh, like non-teachers builds or that kind of thing? I'm basically if you're playing non-teachers, you're basically rushing synth no matter what start you get. Uh, as there really are only two good build paths in this game, and that's Synth and Psionic, with Synth being significantly better. I would say Cybernetic is also playable, but I'm not very good at it yet, so I definitely need some time before I can help with that. Planet governance, sector governance effects, pop growth speed plus resources from jobs plus 5%. I'm just like reading this. This is cool, you know what I mean? Like getting the chosen. I rarely play late enough to get the chosen. Um, but I understand after another situation or two, you can get an event that will increase the efficiency of the Psycore buildings, which is really, really broken. I'm not sure how long it'll take before you get that, but nope, we lost another player here. And as you can see, yeah, it's really hard to get a multiplayer game which goes into the late game with most players still alive or or willing to play the game, right? So, and yeah, I don't know if this will continue. I'll be back when it unpauses. Alright, I rejoined you back in single player because I'm not sure if that game was continuing. Um, and I didn't really want to wait to find out. So we are playing on fast, which I don't normally do, but I do want to wrap up soon, right? And kind of I just really want to show the power of the ring, like and what it can do to your pop efficiency. Um, Also, do I have the Minister of Production building yet? I don't. Wow, that's crazy. I don't know if I just skipped it or something, but it's a 15% bonus, which is not much this late into the game, but still helpful. So if we did hit it, I would definitely want to have it. But yeah, as you can see, like these AIs are just easy to defeat at this point in the game. Not much of a challenge there. And yeah, let's go ahead and build our good old district. So let's take a look at what we get now. We get 28 energy, we get 20.8 alloys, and we get 35 food. And now let's build the ring segments and let's see exactly what we get to. As it should be pretty fun for sure. Also, we're getting tons of AI planets here. At this point in the game, what I would do is I would literally turn on automation. I would probably select everything except for rare resources. Clear blocker, sucker. Yeah, everything except for prevent deficit consumption, rare resources, and every new planet you get, just pick a designation, say generator world, and turn on automation. Make sure you manually pick the designation, otherwise the game will do some stupid stuff. So let's do factory world, for example. Planetary automation on. This generator world, planetary automation on. Right. And this is a way you can manage your planets without being completely overwhelmed with the amount of new planets, even though it'll be at a fraction of the efficiency as if you did the management yourself. But, you'll have no efficiency if you can't manage and you get overwhelmed. Right, which is why we don't. And let's take a look at this now. Our ring is finally done. 25 hours per pop, and I've seen this go over 30 into the late game as you get more and more bonuses stacked up, which is just really, really awesome to see. Anyways, hopefully you enjoyed this episode, showing you guys how to scale out of a bad spawn to the point where you can really just murder anything you want in the galaxy. Hopefully you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.